Hi, you've reached Prophetess Chastity Daniel with the Prophetess Thought of the Day Heart Check. In Matthew 24, at verse 10, it says, and Jesus was speaking of the end days, the end times. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Scooting down a bit in verse 12, it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And iniquity is continued ongoing sin after you know the truth. The love of many, because of that, the love of many, it won't be there. There'll be no love. Merciless. People will be merciless. Does that sound familiar? We are definitely in the end times now. And I know many of you heard your grandfather say it, your grandmother, great, etc. None of us know the day or the time when Jesus is coming back. That's why it's funny. Well, let me stay on point. No one knows. Not even Jesus himself. He says in the word that only my Father knows. And so when we skip to John 16, it says that in verse 2, in verse 1, these things have I spoken unto you that you should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yeah, the time comes that whosoever kills you will think that he does God service. Merciless. And God brought this to me because I saw something on television and I read it online. The young man, 22 years old, a baby, 22 years old, that killed Charlie Kirk, killed the man who founded Turning Point, and he's just a prolific figure, and everybody has their opinion about him, whatever the case may be. But this man was a young man, I believe was he even 30, beautiful wife, children at home. And his life was snubbed by this 22-year-old, apparently who feels like he had nothing to live for because your life is gone now. But the thing that struck me is that this man, the young man, they was showing him, and he was just in court just laughing, smirking, laughing, says he was making jokes with the lawyer. Your life is gone. But that's what happens when you are under Satan's spell. It's almost like a spell. Even people who don't believe in God, whether you believe it or not, just by the default that you don't believe in God, you belong to Satan, and you don't even know it. Under his spell. But this guy, there was no conviction. There was no remorse. End times. The guy lived on, what do you call it, an alternate lifestyle, whatever the word is. He had a transgender partner, and I don't know, his views and I guess his lifestyle was totally against the views of Charlie Kirk. And I've heard many people who identify as Christians make references to the fact that the man deserved to die because of his opinions. But you call yourself a Christian, of Christ. Christian, IAN suffix means of something, like something, similar to. Jesus convicted people of sin. He spoke out against sin, but he was not of hate. Hate was nowhere in his, because he lives, is nowhere in his fiber, your spiritual DNA. You should have love. If you are like Christ, it should be love. But I had someone close to me make the comment that, well, did you hear he said this? Well, he said this. Did you know he was this way and that way? And let me say this. We're in a time now where if anybody's opinion, which actually could be the truth, but it's against what you believe or the lifestyle you want to live, The two things I always hear: you're homophobic, you're racist. You're racist, you're homophobic. They're racist. Everybody is not racist. Sometimes it's just reality. Everybody's not homophobic. Sometimes they're just telling the truth. Most of the time they telling the truth. But we are to love everyone, but love tells the truth. This is what I try to drill in. Love tells the truth. Love doesn't spare your feelings and try to make you feel good. Pat your back and say everything's going to be okay. Like a lot of these pastors, everything's going to be all right. You doing everything against God, but everything going to be all right. Pastors preaching funerals, everybody in heaven. Everybody is not in heaven. Or whatever you believe, if they're not there yet and they're coming, they're going with whatever you believe, everybody ain't going or they're not there. If you're not living the lifestyle. Because demons believe in Jesus. They know he exists. But love, getting to the point is that you expect certain things from people of the world, but God is saying that if you identify as my son or daughter, there better be some love in your heart when you see me face to face. There better not, if there's hatred, unforgiveness, bitterness, jealous spirits, backbiting spirits, all that stuff is not of God. Mercilessness, no mercy. Like a lot of the comments I heard concerning this man. No mercy. That is not of God. You're going to be in for a surprise, and it's going to be a hot surprise. And many of these are preachers, whatever your title is. I got a doctorate in this, and I got a master's in this and this study and biblical studies, but do you have love and mercy? Do you have grace for people? Because yes, we are in the end times, and these things that we see are supposed to happen, but it's not ashata. It is not supposed to be indicative to a child of God. I hear God say, you are not my children. Many of you are going to be surprised. Jesus spoke in Matthew 7. Many are going to say, didn't I preach in your name? Didn't I prophesy even in your name? I cast out demons in your name. And he said, I'm going to say, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. You don't have no love. He never knew you. You can profess all day long. You can get water baptized, Holy Ghost baptism, be walking around here, speaking tongues all day long. Because the Holy Ghost is praying a heavenly language. But if you're not living the lifestyle, you are against whatever he is saying. And they say demons have tongues. I don't know about that. I try to just stick with the things of God. They say there's a demon. I don't know. Even when God shows me dreams about Satan and hell and demonic things, I'm nervous. I'm like, no, Lord, I don't want to see that. I just want the love and the light and know more and more about you. But that's another story. Let's have some mercy and some love. Let's have some truth, pastors. Shatta. Here God said, let's have some truth. Because if you were living the lifestyle, number one, yourself, you who want to run to a podium, be on TV, have a big building and all these members and fat offerings. If you were telling the truth, first of all, living the lifestyle, then some living the lifestyle but just don't want to tell the truth, then a lot of this stuff wouldn't be happening. I would never have heard the comments I was hearing. Had many of these people been under the right leadership gonna either, I hear that, God. The right leadership gonna either push you towards Jesus or they're gonna push you out the door. It's gonna be one or the other. But witches and warlocks are not gonna be able to just sit in your church Sunday after Sunday smiling and ha 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 and then, I love you with the love of the Lord. I just love. Not living a nickel's worth of dog meat. Let's have some love and some mercy. And I want to say one more thing. Because many times we go by what we hear about these famous people, or even hell, I've had people go by what they heard about me until they got to know me. Because many times people will listen, well, I heard this and I heard, they'll base their opinion and what they think their knowledge about you is behind what they've heard. And so I've heard comments about Charlie Kirk, and and I've seen certain things. Some stuff people heard it was twisted, it was warped, some things he said, but then some things he did say. But at the end of the day, let's take it a step further. Even if a person is whatever, this is America. The one thing about America is that we should be able, well, it was founded upon freedom and freedom of speech and being able to express that. That's what America is. But we're coming to a time where that's not going to be so. And many people don't know what's right in front of their eyes. We're quickly, I was going to say slowly, but quickly getting to that point. But it's what it was supposed to be. Even if the man, and I'm not saying he was, but say he was racist, as we love to throw those things up. Let's say he was homophobic. And let me say this, gay people, whatever your title, LGBT, what is it, Q, I can't keep up, I'm not going to try. Because God said be fruitful and multiply. But, and you can't do that with two men and two women. You can adopt. So what happens when everybody is adopted? So then that by itself goes against God. Hashata. But say for instance he was. You can't make, if you are convicted in whatever you're doing, and I'm saying from the homosexual to the whatever you're doing, if you're out here preaching, if you're convicted in what you're doing, like I know God called me to this, it don't matter what anybody calls me. You can come up and you call me whatever you want to call me. I had somebody say prophets don't exist. I hear people say I can hear God for myself. I've heard somebody say women ain't supposed to preach. Women are. You can say whatever you want to say because I'm completely confident in what God has called me to do. And who called me? God. Someone else, someone that, I'm responding now, but I don't respond individually to the foolishness. But I know one person wrote me and say, well, who called you a master prophetess? God. I never called myself chastity until my parents started calling me that, and I learned that. Ashata. So you should be okay with it. If you are, and I love y'all, I love everybody, but if you are, whatever you are, homosexual, lesbian, or somebody, if they are, as you say, homophobic, which I never understood that anyway, because phobia is a fear of something. I don't think anybody's just walking around terrified of homosexuals. They just don't agree with their lifestyle. It's not a phobia. So I never understood that term anyway. But if they are, let them live. Let them be. If you want to put that label on them, if they don't agree with your lifestyle, you probably got family members don't agree with your lifestyle. As long as they treat you with respect, that's what America is. And people are not going to have the same opinion as you. But going back to like this scripture, so what you going to do, headshot Bahaya. I can turn that around. Many people say, well, Charlie Kirk deserved to die for the comments he made. Do you deserve to die because somebody doesn't like you if you're black? If you're gay, can someone say you're gay? So I'm just gonna, and ashata. And if I'm honest with you, because I wasn't born in America, I'm adopted, and that's a whole nother story. But in my culture, if I'm honest, it's not okay to be that there. It's not okay to, people get killed for being gay. They do. Not just beat up really bad, even killed. So, and I remember many, many years ago being in America, when I was younger, people were afraid to come out as gay. People were getting beat up then and killed. So, okay, You want to say because this man didn't agree with whatever you want to do or whatever, it's like this 22-year-old threw his whole life away behind this, they should be killed. Well, then I guess it'd be a whole lot of people killed. Well, I don't like Asian people. I'm gonna off them. I don't like how their eyes are slanted. I don't like how you see how ridiculous this is? And this is America. You don't just kill people because you don't agree with what they believe in. And I'm not saying he is or he wasn't, but at the end of the day, I remember as a toddler being in a certain part of the South and Ku Klux Klan marching around us when we went to the stores. You didn't see blacks rising up trying to kill them and shoot them. That was their opinion. This is America. They were marching. My aunt, and I don't know why, but I had an aunt, she used to let the window down and take their flyers. And so I liked that America. And you know why? And somebody gonna say, well, why would you? I'm not saying I like the fact that they were marching, but I like the fact that this is America. That's what they believe. And they were out doing whatever for what they believe, and they were not bothered. And it was peaceful. They weren't beating anybody up, weren't shooting anybody. Other races of people who, brown people, black people, whatever, were not, oh, I'm gonna kill them. I'm just gonna shoot them because that's not the society I want to live in. And Ashata, God took me that direction, all the way that direction. But the point of the whole thing is many of these people are Christian people. And I don't want to hear anybody, because I can hear it in the background. Well, they killed umpteen such and such people back in the, baby, we are going into 2026, and I'm tired of hearing about what they did. These people did 400-500 years ago, 1,000. We are in today, and each one of us is responsible for our own actions and our own words that come out of our mouth, because words are powerful. And if you are a son or daughter of God, you should know that. And if you don't, something is wrong. You're not under the right church covering, spiritual covering, which you should be under a covering. Maybe I'm a Christian on my own, just me and God, but you're nothing like God. Or you're there and it's just going in one ear and out the other. If you are getting good teaching, good sound doctrine. Love, 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 mercy. And I'm going to keep telling the truth. Sons and daughters of God, keep telling the truth. Do not back down. God says he chastises many of those as he loves. He says, if you are not able to take chastisement, you are a bastard. Meaning you are not my son or daughter. God chastises me daily. My name, I guess that's why I got that name. My name came from my name, chastity, chastisement. So, perilous times, but those of us who are of God are supposed to be letting our light shine. There's supposed to be something different about us. We're supposed to be set apart, peculiar people, meaning sticks out, not weird, not that weird stuff, but light. God is light and love and joy. And even if I don't agree with what I might know you hate me and don't like me. And it might be because you don't like my hair. Maybe you don't like the way I dress. Maybe you don't like because I'm a Christian. Maybe you don't like the color of my skin. Maybe you don't like because I'm a female, but I'm still to love you. I don't have to be in a relationship with you. I don't have to like you. But I am not going to speak death upon you or prove someone else doing something harmful to you. Love and mercy. Have a blessed day. Well, There might be a part two. Have a blessed day.